Hey guys, my name is AniMind and welcome to another speed paint video. As you probably know, my last three videos were a three-part series about my storyline, and I've I think I said this in the last video, but I'm just going to take a little bit of a break from my storyline and go back to a few more mainstream topics and stuff like that. Like, for example, the problem with YouTube videos. So, yeah. And today I'm going to talk about something that's like YouTube, but just a tad bit different. And yeah, this topic, this thing, is streaming services like Hulu, Netflix, these days Disney Plus, which is really big. And yes, streaming services, we all know, have been taking over the animation, the movie, the normal TV shows, all those kinds of movies. It's been taking over. And the thing is that at the beginning, streaming services were great, and when I say that, I'm talking about when there was only Netflix, well, almost only Netflix, but yeah, because Netflix was a lot more. I'd say it was the only streaming service there was, so almost all companies lended and rented their films for Netflix so that Netflix could make money, and then you only needed one. Then Hulu popped up, which didn't have that much. Then after that, I'm not sure about all of the streaming services, but I know recently Disney Plus has came along, and that just wiped all Disney products except for the Spider-Man movies, obviously, off of Netflix's table. And we've recently gotten Netflix because yeah, we're in this Corona time, and it's just much easier to watch movies and stuff on Netflix. But I regret that we got Netflix instead of Disney Plus, because Disney is like massive and it has a lot more content and it is a lot more diverse than you'd think, because Disney owns the big studios it owns that weren't originally part of Disney are obviously Marvel, the Muppets, Pixar, which is really big, and stuff like that. I'm not really. I think the Fox 21st Century, Disney is trying to buy or already has, but I know there's something in between there with Fox 21st Century where Disney is buying it or something. So yeah, it's just taking over the market, and eventually it will absorb some of Netflix, I believe, because by now Netflix isn't really a streaming service, it's also a studio, because it has so many movies and stuff like that. It even has animation series, like a movie that's a good example was The Willoughbys, which is a kids movie, but it really is great. The characters, the animation, especially the animation, it was just a warm and nice movie. And yes, then there's also She-Ra, which I've recently binge watched, which is a great series. And yeah, and Netflix is smart because it's now creating more and more original products so that Netflix doesn't get left in the dust when Disney and all of these other studios make their own streaming services. Like Sony, I think, will eventually do it and leave Netflix out of it, because Sony owns quite a lot of products on Netflix's watch list. But yeah, so Netflix is trying to build up a content library, which is smart, I have to admit. But they have to act quick, because which they are, because I've heard somewhere that Netflix spends 70% of their profits on new shows and products, which is like it's a really smart thing to do, because it will eventually have no more big studio products, and hopefully it will become a big studio itself, which it already kind of is, but it's just not as famous to young people and especially old people, because really young people aren't that keen on streaming services. They just watch what they can find. Like when I was young, I really enjoyed Shark Tale, but now I almost want to throw up while watching it. But some kids just. But I really enjoyed it when I was young, as I said. Sorry, but yeah. So and old people who were born in the 90s and stuff like that, they're used to cable and stuff like Disney being all over the place. And if they have to choose a streaming plus, a streaming service, they'll probably choose Disney Plus. And that's because the name Disney is just almost what's it called sentimental to them. Because all people know Disney from their childhoods. All people love Disney, along with Pixar. Some Universal movies are like dear to me, but not most of them. the Despicable Me movies didn't really stick with me as good movies for that long. So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, Disney is taking over the market, and Netflix is trying to get back into the market. Then there are the other studios that are just doing this to almost spite Disney and Netflix, because they still own these movies, so no one else can take the movies from them. So they're just going to make streaming services of their own, just to make sure that, because these days, if you want like a lot of good content and not just one studio's good content, because all studios have some good content and stuff like that, but if I had to choose, it would probably be Disney. But not all people like Disney that much, and the problem with that is that you now have to spend 90 rand on Netflix if you're alone, you live alone. If you have children or something, that's like an entirely different story. Then you also have to pay for Disney Plus, which is quite big. You also have to pay for Hulu, and then you have to pay for Spotify if you want to watch if you want to have good music and all of that. So you really have to pay a lot these days, and eventually with all these packages it becomes closer to what cable usually was, and that was the whole point of streaming service originally, to be cheaper than cable. But these days, with all of the studios wanting money and stuff, they are all chasing after this new money being able, which they're able to make, and that just causes more and more diversity, which also causes higher and higher and differential. Sorry, I can't speak today. Prices, and that just equalizes out to what cable used to be. So yeah, it's just excuse me, it's just not the same anymore. And streaming services used to be known as what would dominate the market and stuff like that. And it does. Streaming services do dominate the market these days, but because they're never going. Cable and stuff like that is never going to come back and take over the market again, because cable's plan is much more complicated, and you have to pay for it, and then you also get ads, which is also just really weird and complex. But at the moment, one of the best things is YouTube, which doesn't charge anything. You just watch ads in some videos. So yeah, sorry, this is all the time I have. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one, and please leave a comment down below. Thank you and goodbye.